From the headquarters of Telesur English in Quito, Ecuador, I'm Carla Gonzalez, and this is From the South. Supporters of the former Ecuadorian President Rafael Correa are planning a march later on Thursday against what they say is a campaign of persecution against him. On Wednesday, the government of Ecuador recalled its ambassador in Bolivia and suspended sending its new ambassador to Venezuela after Presidents Evo Morales and Nicolás Maduro criticized a decision by Ecuador's National Court to order the arrest of Correa.
High Ecuadorian authorities rejected the declarations made by the governments of Bolivia and Venezuela in support to Rafael Correa. The Foreign Ministry also suspended a proposed visit by the new Ecuadorian ambassador to Venezuela and has recalled the country's ambassador in Bolivia for consultations.
We have presented formal complaints, and we have convened the ambassadors in our country so they can explain what their government's posture is in regards to the internal problems of Ecuador.
On his Facebook account, Rafael Correa published a video where he thanked his supporters and also rejected the measures taken by Judge Daniela Camacho.
Do not worry about me. Worry about our country and how they are tearing it apart. What they ask for is outrageous, and it will never happen in a country like Belgium or any country with a proper rule of law.
Lawmakers loyal to the Citizen Revolution movement urged Rafael Correa to not return to the country. The members also decried this resolution made by the court as a political persecution.
We have told the former president to analyze the possibility of a political asylum request. He is clearly being persecuted. His life and physical integrity are in danger.
However, social and political leaders from across Latin America continue to express solidarity and show their support for Ecuador's former president, Rafael Correa. His supporters are calling for protests against the actions Moreno administration. Denise Herrera, Telesur Quito, Ecuador.
Authorities in Colombia have reported 2 other social leaders were killed, bringing the total number of murders of leaders to 21 since July 1st. The victims are Margarita Estupiñán, leader from the southwest region of Tumaco, and Ana María Cortés from the municipality of Cáceres, northwest of the country. A total of 4 people were killed only this week. Social movements have urged authorities to take measures to protect social leaders. People in El Salvador are set to protest once again against the privatization of water later on Thursday. Members of the University of El Salvador made a call for this new demonstration. They will march towards the Legislative Assembly in capital city San Salvador to reject the bill presented by the conservative Arena Party that is scheduled to be discussed. Protesters see this law project as a covert attempt to privatize a basic good. The last demonstration ended up in clashes between students and the police. Journalists in Argentina will march later on Thursday against the massive layoffs in the state news agency Telam. They will gather in front of the emblematic obelisco in capital city Buenos Aires to protest the restructuring plan launched by the government of President Mauricio Macri. 357 people were fired from the news agency, almost half of Telam's workforce. Journalists denounced Macri's government is promoting an ideological cleansing against colleagues that are critic with his administration. Thousands of Nicaraguans marched in favor of President Daniel Ortega's government. Demonstrators chanted songs in tribute to the president, waving Sandinista flags. They also marched for peace and the end of the ongoing protests that have left 205 people dead, according to the Commission for Truth, Peace and Justice.
We send support to Commander Daniel and to Comrade Rosario to show them that the people are present. The people of Managua are present and that we are not going to accept impositions from a bourgeoisie group or political group that do not represent the people.
Opposition groups also marched in the capital Managua to demand the departure of President Daniel Ortega and his wife and Vice President Rosario Murillo. Waving blue and white Nicaraguan flags, the demonstrators lined up in one of the main roads in the city. The national dialogue between the government and the opposition remains on hold.
What we really want is a free country, a country where we can all enjoy a democracy that was lost a long time ago, and we need the president and the vice president to leave so we can restore democracy in this country.
We'll take a short break now, but join us again after a video from our multimedia team. Welcome back. The CARICOM heads of government are in Montego Bay, Jamaica for their annual meeting. Over the course of the three-day meeting, the regional leaders are expected to discuss, among other things, the implementation of the CARICOM single market and economy, the report of the Marijuana Commission, climate change, and disaster management. Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness is chairing this meeting.
Barely criticized by our youth, who have grown weary of our promise to secure deeper integration within the framework of the single market and economy. Those promises have remained elusive, and young people are calling for CARICOM leaders and institutions to be more accountable for their actions. Integration should be real and meaningful to our people. Areas of importance to young people include the right of free movement, and in particular, the right of skilled labor to move freely, as well as equitable access to our professional law schools, as required by our modern tertiary education landscape. We must deliver on these so that our young people can have renewed belief in CARICOM.
Mia Motley of Barbados was one of the recently elected Caribbean leaders who addressed the opening of the CARICOM meeting. She said the organization needed to do more to implement integration.
So we are here to recommit. And I just said to Prime Minister Mitchell, as I could have said to Prime Minister Brown, their speeches have spoken to the need for commitment to regional integration. And very often, as they did, we speak in terms of the trade and regulations, but I want us not to forget our purpose and our passion, the people's interests. Behind closed doors at retreats and in isolation from our advisors and our population, we continue to develop these noble and lofty ideas and then delegate them for execution. Hide behind the phrase agreed in principle, as Prime Minister Mitchell just said.
Joining us on the line from Montego Bay is David Comisión, who is at the CARICOM Summit as an advisor to the government of Barbados. Thank you, David, for joining us. Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley told the heads of governments last night that they needed to move more rapidly towards integration in the Caribbean. What does she have in mind?
Yes, yeah. Okay, I don't know why they should. There's no reason.
Hello, David. Yes, can you hear us?
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Hello, David. Can you hear us? Yes, we're having difficulties reaching David, but we'll see if we can get him back to discuss the CARICOM meeting. Let's move along. On Sunday, the Mexican people voted for change, not only in the presidency, but across every level of the government. The Together We'll Make History coalition, led by President-elect Andrés Manuel López Obrador, has so far won an unprecedented number of seats in Congress in a country historically ruled by two conservative parties.
The National Electoral Institute has moved on to the next stage of the general election. The counting of ballots has started before the final results are delivered.
So far, only knowing the preliminary results, this election has a huge difference in votes between first and second place. We have not seen something like this in nearly 40 years.
This huge advantage stands despite irregularities like what happened in the state of Puebla, where Marta Erika Alonso, the wife of current Governor Rafael Moreno Valle, won the governorship. Suspecting fraud in these results, the people took to the streets. According to official data, in both houses of Congress, the Together We'll Make History coalition will get more than double the seats that the party in second place. This fact creates a new legislative landscape.
There's a lot of responsibility on our shoulders, and we understand this fact. But every decision made in agreement with other parties is much more stronger than a decision made only by us. So we're going to be in constant dialogue with the other political forces.
To this Morena legislator, the new shape of both houses of Congress obeys to popular will of creating a new political agenda.
Our mandate is no more privatizations, not of natural resources, nor of strategic sectors, and that the social rights of the people be protected. We are going to work under these mandates.
Across different media, it's been said that after this election, Mexico has painted itself in red, in reference to the characteristic color of the National Regeneration Movement, Morena, that has been victorious in 30 out of 31 states, as well as in the capital.
We spoke to a researcher at the National University in Mexico, John Ackerman. He says the new president could bring a kind of renaissance to Mexico.
He's trying to do is a fourth republic, which would be, a really profound democratization of Mexico, and and also, the real freedom of speech, of course, freedom of reunion. This is something that has been canceled out over the last 6 years. Mexico is today still, very much of an authoritarian country with censorship against journalists. Over 100 journalists have been assassinated over the last 10 years. And so, we're really looking forward to a moment of a renaissance of democracy and of civil society participation in Mexico as of December 1st.
In Venezuela, President Nicolás Maduro asked the people and the army to be on guard after local media in the United States disclosed that a year ago, President Donald Trump raised the possibility of invading the country. Maduro said these reports prove that the United States is planning a military attack against Venezuela.
The President of the United States, Donald Trump, in the months of August and September last year, was ventilating a military intervention against Venezuela. It is a revelation of a senior official, former high official, who belonged in the period to the government in the first year of President Donald Trump.
Venezuelan Foreign Minister Jorge Arreaza is in Mozambique and has met with the President of the Republic, Veronica Macamo. In a high-level meeting with Macamo, both sides agreed on the importance of bilateral relations to strengthen ties. Arreaza thanked Macamo's hospitality, stressing Venezuela will support the African nation on issues it has experience with. Arreaza commenced the tour Tuesday and is scheduled to visit South Africa and Ghana. Taxi drivers in Costa Rica formed a caravan and marched in capital city San Jose to protest against Uber. Protesters gathered in front of the presidential palace to urge the government to take measures against what they describe as unfair competition. They claim the arrival of the ride-sharing app to the country has led them to bankruptcy. Taxi drivers demanded to meet with President Carlos Alvarado. The government offered them to meet with the Minister of Transportation, Rodolfo Méndez, but protesters refused.
The arrival of Uber brought my family to bankruptcy. I can cover my basic needs. I have to pay almost $400 for the car. And many times I do not have it, and I'm about to lose it. My colleagues have lost their cars, their houses, their homes.
The government has been very permissive with that pirate multinational because it is illegal, and something that is declared illegal in a country is not right.
Nearly 2,000 Puerto Ricans still have no electricity in their homes, 10 months after Hurricane Maria devastated the island in September 2017. The Director of Technical Operations of the Electric Power Authority of Puerto Rico, Carlos Alvarado, reported that 1,942 customers still have no access to electricity, including many municipalities. Puerto Rican citizens also have power blackouts. Despite this, U.S. President Donald Trump said he is satisfied with his administration's management of the Puerto Rican crisis. Archaeologists in Peru have discovered 24 funerary bundles from the Inca period. Located in the northern region of Lambayeque, the 500-year-old bundles covering human remains were found inside peculiar boot-shaped tombs. Funerary bundles made out of textile pieces had the shape of a cone with the top representing the head of the deceased. Archaeologists also found 15 ceramics that served as an offering to the dead. The Inca Empire ruled most of eastern South America from the 13th until the 16th century and defeated by the Spanish invasion. Brazil's national football team held a training session in Sochi ahead of their World Cup quarter-final match against Belgium. Striker Douglas Costa and defender Marcelo returned to training as they recover from injuries that left them off the pitch for the last 2 games. Uruguay also prepared for their World Cup quarter-final clash against France. The South American team have conceded just 1 goal, having the best defense of the tournament. Along with Brazil's striker Luis Suarez, praised his teammate Edinson Cavani and said he has done everything to recover from an injury he suffered in the last match against Portugal. 8 teams move forward to the quarterfinals set to start on Friday. These are the matches for the next World Cup round. Uruguay will play against France. Neymar and Brazil will face Belgium. Host country Russia will play against Croatia, and Sweden will face England. While the World Cup takes place in Russia, women football referees in Egypt push for a league promotion. For years, Egypt's women football referees have officiated only lower-level football matches, but now they have set their sights on the Premier League. A group led by referee Hanan Hassan defended their expertise unequal to that of the male referees and said they should also officiate more high-profile matches. There are just 15 women working as referees in Egypt out of the 60 registered in the Arab country. We'll take one last short break, but join us after this video from our multimedia team. Thanks for joining us again. The 12 boys and their football coach trapped in the caves in northern Thailand are being taught how to scuba dive. Authorities are looking into the best possible way to safely rescue the boys. And while diving will be their fastest way out, it involves a high level of risk. The ongoing rainy season has impeded the rescue operation, with caves flooding despite rescuers' continued efforts to pump water out. For now, the boys have been provided with food, medicine and thermal blankets. The Thai Navy SEALs say the boys are coping well. The fate of these boys has brought back memories of the Chilean miners who were trapped underground for 69 days in 2010. 33 miners were trapped inside a mine in the San Jose copper gold mine in the Atacama Desert in Chile. They were rescued by using a capsule lowered into the mine that then was lifted back to the surface. The 24-hour operation was broadcast live. Mario Sepúlveda is one of the 33 men rescued, and he sends a message for the boys.
I would like to send greetings and a lot of strength to the authorities and the families of these 12 children who are underground. I have no doubt that if the government of Thailand makes all possible efforts, this rescue will be successful. God bless you. We are praying for each of you, for each of the families, and for these children.
Authorities are investigating the latest nerve agent attack in the United Kingdom. Here's more on that story and other ones making headlines around the world.
The head of Britain's counter-terrorism office has confirmed that the couple who were found unconscious on Wednesday were exposed to the Novichok nerve agent. The couple were found unconscious in their home a few kilometers away from the city of Salisbury, where former Russian spy Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia were also allegedly attacked with the same nerve agent. Protests in Poland continue against a new law forcing Supreme Court judges to retire at 65 years of age rather than 70. This means that 40% of the judges will have to retire. Thousands of protesters gathered outside the Supreme Court in Warsaw to pressure the government into overturning this law.
The situation is worsening because they are running our courts. Sooner or later, this may lead to a civil war. We are on the same page against this, and if the protests outside the Supreme Court stay, I will join you every now and then.
In a scientific breakthrough to save the northern white rhino from extinction, researchers claim they have grown hybrid embryos of the subspecies. This comes months after the world's last male northern white rhino died in Kenya. Now only 2 are known to be alive and both are infertile females. Scientists say it will be at least 3 years before a baby northern white rhino is born.
In Spain, women took to the streets of the northern city of Pamplona to denounce sexual aggression during the San Fermín Running of the Bulls festival, just hours before it begins this Friday. Protesters marched to the rhythm of drums and feminist chants, dressed in black and covering their faces with hoods, under the slogan, "The night, the streets and the parties are ours." Numerous sexual aggressions have been reported during San Fermín, including the famous Wolfpack case in which 5 men abused an 18-year-old girl in 2016. A woman climbed the emblematic Statue of Liberty in New York to protest against U.S. President Donald Trump's zero-tolerance policy with immigrants. Wearing a "Rise and Resist" t-shirt, she told authorities that she would only come down when parents are reunited with all migrant children separated from them at the southern border by the Trump administration. The woman was arrested after this dramatic protest. And before we end, a reminder, you can catch our special World Cup program with Argentina football star Diego Maradona. De la mano del 10, the World Cup according to Maradona. It will air only on Telesur every night throughout the tournament in Russia. These are the times to watch it, so don't miss out. And with that, we come to the end of this news brief. But as you know, there's another stories you can find on our website, telesurtv.net/English. And be sure to also follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. For Telesur English, I'm Carla Gonzalez. Thank you for watching.